Welcome to the room, Mr. Jimmy Compton. Ladies and gentlemen, Fort Worth, Texas. Are you originally from Fort Worth?
No, sir.
But you've been there a long time.
So I moved to Fort Worth in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Oklahoma. I actually grew up in the Broken Bow area.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from a little town called Wright City.
Okay.
So I spent my childhood there, and so my parents were divorced, so I was back and forth. My dad lived on the western side of Oklahoma. My mom was in the southeastern side, so I got to spend time out in a little town called Bow. It's
Bow, Oklahoma.
Bow, Oklahoma. Yeah, it's just right off of Highway 54. If you come, you know where Weatherford is, obviously.
Yep.
Coming south out of Weatherford, it's about an hour south of Weatherford, just a little wheat field town. And yeah, so I lived there for 3 or 4 years, and then wound up going back to, I graduated high school in Valiant, Oklahoma. Just a little town just down the street from Wright City, basically.
So Oklahoma native.
Yep.
Been in Texas for a couple of decades. I want to tell the story of how we met. I recently met Jimmy. I met Jimmy last year. It was in November. We were in Fort Worth. We were at the Rhinestone Saloon, and I was out back upstairs on the deck, and I was watching the band, and I see Jimmy, who I didn't know was Jimmy at the time, and he was taking photos or videos of the band playing, and man, you had this really cool rig strap on, like it was like a custom leather, almost looked like a gun holster, right? It almost looked like, but he had his cameras hanging off the back of it, and I was like, man, that is a rad setup. This dude's got to be cool. So I think I went and asked you about, your rig, and we got to talking, and you were there with one of the artists and, shooting video or content or whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to talk to you. You do so much, man, and it's so weird how randomly that weekend we were there for Texas Country Music Weekend. There was 200,000 people in the stockyards, and the one guy that I wanted to talk to was you, Jimmy Compton, and I'm so glad that I reached out and we kind of hit it off right there on the deck that night.
Yeah, we did.
We got to talking, and you were there with one of the artists, and then you were telling me about how you make these leather goods, and you have this pretty awesome company called The Proper Gentleman, where you make leather goods, wallets, guitar straps. Tell me about that.
So the Proper Gentleman is just a company. So the leather thing just kind of fell into my lap.
You haven't been doing this your whole life, or how did it start? What was the first thing you did?
So I made a wallet that, I was looking for a wallet that I could carry. It was like I just was looking for a commemorative piece, so it's kind of shopping around for custom wallets, and the prices I was getting back was my wife didn't like it, so she told me no. She goes, you don't need to spend that much on a wallet, and whatever. And so I kind of sat on that idea for a little while, and eventually the curiosity got the best of me, and I went ahead and picked up some tools and, kind of made what I sort of envisioned. And I posted it on my Facebook page, and then the next day I had $1,200 in orders, and it's just been like that. The demand has been like that, pretty much ever since. It's been slow the last couple of years, but that's how it started, was just looking for a custom piece, and my wife telling me no.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You do some really cool stuff. And then when we were there that night at Rhinestone Saloon, and you were talking to me, you were super passionate about your leather goods, and obviously I was talking to you about that strap that you made, and you told me something that has stuck with me. You were like, Zach, I just think that every musician should be able to afford a strap, right?
But yeah, I think they should have. it. You know, the Ford part is, that's relative, I guess, to where they're at in their career. But I think if a guy's trying to be a musician and he's standing on stage, I think two things: he's got to have high quality photos, and I think for his social media, and I think they got to have a high quality strap, because that's their image, or their appearance, or whatever,
Yeah.
And I think a jazzed out strap that's got their name, where you can see it from the back of the room, I think that helps a little,
Yeah, it definitely does, man. It's super.
Can't hurt the cause, you know.
It's super cool too to see those. There's so many flashy ones out there, you know, so many that do catch your eye. Who are some of the artists that you've made them for that we might know?
So I've made the most recent ones I made one for Jake Bush. You might have seen that one.
Yeah, okay.
Man, I'm gonna have to slow down. And, you know, I was even thinking about this on the way down here. It's like who have I made, you know, straps for? But Justin Biltonen. Biltonen, but Biltonen,
from Three Doors Down, and he does his own country thing.
Made him a couple of straps. The last one I made for him was pretty badass. He had just got a tattoo of a big, I want to say it was a bison skull, and it had feathers hanging from it and stuff. And so he sent me a picture of that. So we put that on the strap and did a desert landscape, and pretty. My eyes were bleeding by the time, because I think they had a recording session coming up or something, and he had just bought a new bass, and he says, "Man, you think you can have this done in a couple of days?" And to me, I kind of like that as a challenge, so I just set everything aside for 2 straight days and knocked that out and got it done for him. But I made some. Let me think for a second. Ellis Bullard. I've done quite a bit of work with him. He's one of my favorite guys.
He's the man, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty exciting to watch play. That's for sure. Puts on a great show.
Yeah, super cool guy. Love Ellis. Well, those are pretty huge, man. I mean, right out the gate.
I'll think of them as we're talking, but it's
And to make something for any of those guys, I'm sure is an honor. But Justin is also an artist, you know, a very talented, skilled silversmith. Yeah. So for him to commission something from you, that's got to feel pretty good. You do badass work, but that's just, I mean, you are making rock star goods for rock stars,
Yeah. I got to make Chet, the other guitarist. I've made all the guys over at Three Doors Down. I've made all them straps over the years, but it's pretty cool when they call you and ask you to do it. So Chet he called me a couple years ago, and he just got he was getting his guitar out of the shop, and we did a custom piece called Lucky. That's the name of the guitar. So I don't know if it's ever made it back on stage yet. He's, I think he's particular about the sound, and so I think that guitar's still under the knife, so to speak. So
yeah,
but I've got to make some fun ones. I mean, there's some that I've made that have never seen the light of day, which is fine. But I have made some, and I'll think of them. I mean, it's just quite a few people. Coffee Anderson, I've done quite a few straps for him. I've made wallets for quite a few guys too, like Scott Brown.
Scooter. Yeah.
So the thing with if these guys, if they have a leather, if they've got a guy that's making their straps for them already, I really try not to step on those toes or mess with that relationship, because I wouldn't want someone doing it to me. So there's a lot of guys that I would love to make straps for, but can't get their management to answer that email.
Well, I think you'll get there, man. I mean, with guys rocking your stuff, and you got some good ones rocking it, so you'll eventually get there, man. That's cool, man. What besides like straps? Again, I noticed this really cool. What would you even call it? Your camera rig? What was that thing?
Yeah, it's just a suspender rig. I mean, there's people out there making them. It's not a a rare thing, but it's just it's almost like a dual holster, like a shoulder holster rig, and it's just just got little hooks on it to hold my cameras.
I was so enamored with it, man. I still am. What's like one of the weirdest pieces you've made, or one of the most unique pieces, like something like, I don't know, maybe you didn't think you could pull it off, or
man, the bags are always the challenging, because there's so much time. And I mean, the last bag I put together, because I hand sew everything, so the last bag I did, it was 50 hours of sewing. And that's before you flip it inside out, and and that's when you make sure that's when the reveal is, if everything's put together right. If it's I mean, you just don't know what you could have done. Reaching in there blindly, fishing a needle through these holes, and anyway, it's but that the bags are probably the most rewarding, because when those things are done, they're not. that's the last one that whoever buys that bag, it's the last one they'll ever have.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I just got my daughter, she's 14, a sewing machine for Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, she's wanted to sew. She watched a lot of sewing videos, and she loves like doing nails. She's very creative and artsy, and so I got her one, and she's pretty pumped on it. How did you learn to sew? My dad sewed. I never got into it, but I think my dad had to sew out of necessity from being a poor kid when he was growing up. But when did you start sewing?
So it was my freshman year of high school. I took a home ec class in Gotebo, Oklahoma, actually.
Yeah.
And actually, I did pretty good. So my teacher, I can't remember her first name, but it was Miss Snyder was her name. I used to give her hell, but at the end of the year, she actually gave me the best sewing student award, trying to embarrass me, So, but here we are, right?
That's awesome.
But
yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Well, again, you also do photography and video work too.
So I'm getting into video work. That's my, that's my son's, gig. He's getting into video editing and stuff like that. But, so the video stuff, I mean, it's like changing your oil to me. I know how to do it. I just don't want to do it.
Right.
Know? So it's, I can do it. It's just a whole different type of creativity to me, so, cause there's so much more that you can do. With video, with filters and editing and zooming and everything, where a photo I think is a little more challenging, when it comes to trying to tell a story or relay a message or anything like that. So, not that I choose photos over videography for that reason. It's just where my passion pulls me is photography.
Yeah, I could tell that when I met you, when we were there at Rhinestone. Within just a couple of minutes of our conversation, you were like, hey, dude, stand right there. And you started taking shots of me. And they were really cool shots. There's some great new headshots. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're here with Jimmy Compton. Again, Jimmy Compton sounds like Texas. He's a super talented guy. Again, what do you call this? A leathersmith? A leather
craft, leather work, I hate using the word, like leather artist, but some people, use that term as well. But
again, a great photographer and a resident of Fort Worth, which is becoming the new Hollywood, it seems like, here in Texas, man.
Yes, sir.
You've had a couple of cool recent appearances on Landman, which is like the most popular show in town. It's so cool. Talk to me a little bit about what you've done on Landman. And
so it's all been just background extra stuff, just playing rig workers or the one, the episode 4, I was a patient. So I'm there just laid in the hospital bed and got to be on screen with, with those guys. So I mainly, a buddy of mine, Matt, he's another silversmith you'd probably look into. Halleton Peak is the name of his company. He does, matter of fact, he does this brim biter right here. You've probably seen.
Oh,
those.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, he was doing some background stuff, and he's like, "Man, you ought to check this out. It's just right there in Fort Worth." And I'm like, "All right, screw it." So I set up a profile and got a booking request. So went and did an episode of The Madison, which is it's a spinoff. It's another Yellowstone spinoff that stars Michelle Pfeiffer. So did that one, and then Matt's from Arkansas, so he drove in for that one, and so I'm like, I'm already on the site. I just started submitting for all these open calls, and then before I know it, man, I'm like going down and doing Landman, and so that was fun. I got to do like 8 or 9 episodes. Literally only been 2 times, and then my truck has been in another scene. So it's just fun. For me, I was, I got into it because I wanted to see the operation side of things, because the photography side, the camera nerd in me is like looking at all these camera rigs and, these lenses that are, 10 feet long and whatever. But just geeking out over the equipment and the process of what they're going through for filming and stuff like that. So it's a big learning process for me, but now I've got an interest in, I want to do like stills photography, the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
I mean, dude, I think, man, I would love to get into that, but joining the union is not free. So
is it not?
No, it's not. No.
You're talking about like the Screen Actors Guild?
So they have unions for different types of work, and for stills photography, there's a union that's just for those guys, and it's, I guess it's public knowledge what the fees are, but it's, to join a union to be a stills photographer, it's I want to say it's $11,000.
Oh my goodness!
And then the fees are $500 a quarter. So it's, it's not cheap, and, and then there's no guaranteed work. So I don't even know, it's a big risk, to do, but, if you make good relationships and you put out good work and you're quick on your turnaround, then, it shouldn't be an issue.
Had you ever done acting work before that?
No.
You never were in like a school play or anything?
No, the only time I tried to be in a school play, they canceled it because we didn't have enough participants. So that was my...
Miss Snyder is going to have to get up there and do something too. They canceled it. I love that. We're here with Jimmy Compton again, who... I don't know. It's cool to me. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't watch Landman or Yellowstone or a whole lot of TV, but I do love Westerns. I obviously love Texas. I love the fact that it's all about like Fort Worth and it's being shot in Fort Worth. And, another thing I really love about Landman, it seems like the soundtrack, they're using so many Texas artists and songs, which so it's like super cool, man. How was the catering there on set?
Oh man, the catering is over the top. It's
what are they eating? What's Billy Bob Thornton? Are you eating the same thing that Billy Bob Thornton's eating?
No, man. We don't even like. We can look at those guys from afar, but that's about it. Yeah. When we go in to do this, they brief us to not, don't engage the main characters and stuff. They're in character, then whatever. And and I get it because there's people that want to do selfies and get autographs and stuff like that. And it's, I wouldn't, I can understand how it would make their job more difficult when you're having to bat people away the whole time.
Yeah.
But the catering is, every set that I've ever been on so far has been, they've got snacks. They've got these, probably 3 or 4, 8-foot tables that are just covered with shit from Costco. And then they'll bring in, like actual catering, like, I don't know, freaking name something fancy like meatloaf or steak or whatever. It's all good. And then you go and eat that, and then after that they'll bring Domino's pizza and pile up a table with pizza. So it's like, you're never.
There's a lot of like standing. So you when I texted you one time, I think, or we talked something, and you were like, man, I've been on set for like 10 hours or 8 hours. I read a post or something that you said. And so it's just like a lot. What do you do like when you're waiting around?
You just sit and look at the wall of whatever room you're in. I mean, there's other people there, so you strike up conversations with the other extras, and after a while, when you go to set after set after set, you start seeing the same people. So it's you just kind of pick up where you left off from the last time you saw them.
That's crazy, man. That's
like we did a movie in Huntsville, which is 11 days about the prison standoff that happened in '74.
When did you do this?
They shot the month of October, so they finished October 31st.
So there's like a new movie about the Hunts. Say that again.
It's called 11 Days.
Okay, and
it's about the standoff, the prison standoff that happened in '74.
Oh, when they were rioting and all that stuff. Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I got to play an inmate in that one.
Really?
Yeah, I was a hostage, so might see me in that one too.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah, we got to shoot in the actual room where the actual standoff happened. It was pretty cool.